Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and for the last week I've been driving the 2025 Audi SQ5. Up front is a 3.0 liter turbocharged V6, and down below is a 7-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be making this video here today because I've spent the last week driving the SQ8, and I honestly have to say I've loved it. This is one of my favorite SUVs, and I'm here to share with you why that is in a little over 10 minutes. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that V6 under the hood. Well, that is special for the SQ5. Now, of course, Audi still makes the Q5, and that gets a 2.0 liter turbocharged engine. Now, the 2.0 turbo makes 268 horsepower, which is honestly a fantastic number for a little 4-pot turbo. However, this steps it up by almost 100 horsepower, making 362. That has been absolutely wonderful. The driving experience is the cornerstone of the SQ5. Exhibit A. Paired to it is that 7-speed automatic transmission. It is a dual clutch. It is very, very quick. And this does have the Quattro system, which is Audi's all-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the SQ5? It's fantastic in every single way except for one. Sometimes when you're not in dynamic mode at slow speeds, the gas pedal has about an inch of play before anything actually starts happening. It actually has like a delay in it in the more eco-friendly modes. I believe this is something to do with like the start-stop system or something like that. It's just not great. Sometimes you're like, oh, there's not a whole lot going on. There's just a little bit of pedal movement before the engine actually starts doing anything, which could be annoying, but that's honestly the only downside, and I'm sure you can put up with that. The chassis is very, very solid, very comfortable, however, still very fun to drive. This does feel like the Audi S5 has just grown up a little bit and morphed into an SUV shape, and that's a really good thing. I love driving the SQ5. I love the size of it as well, and it is just so much fun. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, this has Audi's digital cockpit, this giant screen in front of you that is the infotainment to the right, but the gauge cluster to the left. The gauge cluster is highly customizable. Whatever you want to see, you can put up on the gauge cluster, which is very nice. It's easy to read, easy to see, and that's what I want. On the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our view selections as well as OK and pages for that gauge cluster screen. And off to the right, we have our heated steering wheel, volume, skip track, and phone options. You do also get a nice little S badge down at the bottom of the wheel, and I overall really like the look and feel of the shape of the steering wheel. Off to the left, we do have a climate vent. And moving on to the door, we have our Bang & Olufsen speaker. And down below, we have our lock and unlock headlight switch, mirrors, memory seats, child locks, and power windows, all in this one little area. I do kind of like this. This is kind of fighter jet cockpit-y. And it's interesting to see the headlight switch on the door, but again, the S5 had that as well. Moving into the center, we get our large infotainment. This does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It has a bunch of really cool features. One of my favorite features is the ambient lighting. Heated ventilated seat options are in here, and the climate controls are all ran through the screen. But like I said with the Audi S5, I don't actually mind it that much. The more I use it, the more I get used to it. It's actually fine. Now, I don't love the fact that there's a learning curve to understand how to use the climate controls, but at the end of the day, now that I've spent several different weeks with other Volkswagen and Audi products with similar systems, it's starting to become second nature, and at the end of the day, it's okay. But we do have massage options found in here as well, which is lovely. Been really enjoying that. Off to the right, we get another screen. This is for the passenger. You can play some games, watch YouTube, things like that. However, when it's off, it displays this nice little pattern that you would associate with a regular dashboard of an Audi product. So it's not visually annoying when you're driving the car with the screen off, which is very nice to see. You know, you don't even think about it when someone isn't using it. Down below, we do have more climate control vents. We have our hazard switch, drive mode select, auto start stop on and off, and traction control off button. We have the volume and skip track button, as well as the engine start stop. We have two USB-Cs and a wireless charger, and moving into the center, we have the tiny little shifter. I actually really love these small shifters. I think it opens up the cabin a lot more and just looks and feels modern, and it's easy to use. We do have our safety features on and off, power parking brake, camera buttons for parking, things like that. And we do have cup holders, of which we will do a big friggin' bottle test, but just like its S5 sibling, it unfortunately fails. Then we do have a center console, which is way larger than the S5. Absolutely love this feature. And then we have the seats. Much like the center console, the seats are also red. I love this burgundy, dark red interior. I think it looks fantastic in the daytime and the nighttime. There's a lot of other red interiors that are just overpowering in the daytime. This actually still looks good in the sunlight, and that is not an easy task to achieve. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the Audi SQ5, and it isn't quite as spacious as I was really hoping, but I would say it's on par with vehicles like the Mazda CX-5. It feels a similar size. My knees are coming very close to hitting the seat in front of me, but they're not, so that's something to note. We do have two USB-Cs, we have two climate vents, we have rear heated seats and temperature adjustments. Coming into the center here, we do get a fold-down center console with two more cup holders. And of course, the red seats carry on back here. I think these seats look absolutely lovely, and I truly enjoy them. I also get my own lock and unlock on the doors. I get Bang & Olufsen speakers. We do get a rear sunshade as well. Really, really nice goodies back here. If I had a giant family, I would definitely look more at like the Q7, but this works as an SUV, again, as just an S5 that has grown up. This is really, really nice. Let's take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the SQ5, we do have a button in there for the power tailgate, and here we are. Obviously, tons more space than the S5. However, the S5 actually was a sportback, so it did have a lot of space on its own, but of course, this is more. We can raise and lower the vehicle with these buttons over here because this does have adjustable suspension. You can come down here and get a ton of extra storage, and we also get our 12-volt outlet. So it passes every test that I have for vehicles like this. Plenty of space, absolutely lovely. You could take all of your great things around with you in a rather quick fashion. We also do have the kick panel for the tailgate, so when the key's in your pocket, you can kick it like that and it will open and close. The vehicle's on, that's why it's not doing it here right now, but we do have buttons up here to lock and close the tailgate. Very smooth, calm, and collected from the Audi Corporation. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and again, I really truly believe that this is a slam dunk from Audi. They have updated for the 2025 model year. This is a new generation of the SQ5, and I think it just looks great. It is very identifiable as an Audi product, but the lighting situation is honestly what sets it apart. Mostly at the rear, it actually lights up in red quattro around the back. I love that. That is so special, so cool. And it made me smile every time I walked out to it. And as I mentioned, we'll talk about the interior. Driving this thing at night, I mean, you feel like you're in the Tron movie in the best way possible. Maybe it's because that new Tron movie's coming out soon. I have it on the brain. But it just feels very vibrant, very alive, very city, very urban, very pop club thing. I just love it. Driving this on the highway at night was one of the most pleasurable experiences I've had in a while, and that was mostly due to those lights and, of course, how it drives with the bangs and crackles. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the SQ5 for the last week. Well, this has been an equally blissful experience as the S5 was a couple of weeks ago. Audi is doing something very, very right now. They are updating their products, and I really, really like what I'm seeing. This and the S5 have been some of my favorite vehicles that I've driven this year, hands down. I think they drive really well. They sound good. They make a very confident amount of power, not overpowered, you know, not the Escalade V with 700 horsepower you're never going to use. This is very usable. Passing on the highway is an absolute breeze. It's luxurious. It feels modern. It just really hits the nail on the head for pretty much everything. And I know people are going to say $74,000 is a lot of money, and I would never debate that it isn't. 74 grand is a lot, but I truly believe that you can find a perfect car for you for $80,000 and less, and this is one of those vehicles. It's fast and fun. I can cut up a canyon if I want to. I can take the kids to school if I want to. It's a multifaceted vehicle, and it just delivers. Whatever it tells you it can do, it delivers on that promise. It delivers on those remarks, and that is the biggest thing. This doesn't feel like it's trying to be anything that it's not. It's very honest in what it's able to do, but it is able to do a lot. And so, do yourself a favor, find one of these, man. Just find one of these. Good grief. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Audi for loaning me this SQ5 for the last week to drive around. Huge thank you to Drive Shop for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of this vehicle. And of course, the Midwest Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.